gotta love it. You gotta love it. Yes, man. Come on. It seems like it's been forever since we've done this, right?
Yes.
Come on.
It does.
And we've upgraded. We've even got the brand in. I have to highlight this. We have to take it out there. To our amazing viewers back at home, welcome to another exciting and brand new episode of Lead Now. And just in case you forgot, I think we forgot something. We have to bring in our audience here. All right? We have to. And that's it. That's how we usually do it. Yeah, that's how we do it. And it gives us some energy. And just in case you forgot, ladies and gentlemen, this amazing show is all about covering the major significant concept of leadership and breaking it down, and understanding. And we have to give a big shout out to Dr. John C. Maxwell, because in this series, we're covering the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership.
Yep.
But we have to remind people of who we are.
Yes.
All right, Nedzina Langande Rendani Chivuda, aka Randy, your number one MC, and I'm never alone.
I am Anton Venter.
There we go. To go into it, Anton.
Yes.
All right, we've covered so much. We are on law number 16, the law of momentum. Without wasting any time, what is the law of momentum all about?
Well, first of all, what is momentum? So if you look at the scientific definition of momentum, momentum equals speed times weight.
Whoa.
But so in other words, if you are fast and you are heavy, you have momentum.
Come on.
So I found that when I played rugby.
Yeah.
So when I reached top speed, I was difficult to stop because I was fairly heavy.
You mentioned Jonah Lomo earlier before we
Yes,
started.
Jonah Lomo is a classic example.
Yeah.
So I remember the one time I was out at one of those fairs. You know those places where they got all those rides?
Yes.
So my first time on this little car.
Yeah.
And it's going down this massive track. And down there at the bottom, there's like a turn to 90 degrees. And I see that coming in. I know that when I go straight, I go straight. It's the scariest moment of my life because momentum takes you forward.
Yeah, I love that.
And that's the thing. That's what momentum does. It takes you forward. So when we're talking in leadership context, though, we are saying that momentum is actually something in your head.
Yes.
Right. So you generate momentum. It's not a physical momentum.
Yes.
It's a mental momentum that you gain. And that is really what momentum is. So when we talk about the law of momentum, it means that when in a leadership context you get things going, once you start that movement, then it builds up speed and you get more and more and more and more done.
Yeah.
So for example, when I play squash against somebody,
You play squash?
I play squash.
Okay.
One of my hobbies.
There we go.
But when you score, right, you must got to give the score for both guys.
Yes.
So it's 5-1, 6-1. So I will score in such a way that you hear the momentum.
Okay.
So I'll go 5-1,
Okay.
6-1, 7-1. So you build momentum. It's in the guy's head. That's how you keep winning.
And it's repetitive.
Yes.
It stays there.
And it's the same as a coach in a rugby field. I've experienced many winning and losing sequences.
Yeah.
So when a team starts winning and they build that winning momentum, then they become powerful.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I've also been in situations where you're in a losing momentum sequence. And then you got to change that losing momentum. For example, when I was in grade 11, I was in a rugby team. It is a brilliant team. If I think back at it, I still don't understand why we didn't win. But that team was actually a lot of good players. But for some reason, we lost.
Yeah.
And we lost and we lost and we lost. The whole year. We never lost a game by more than 5 points.
So it was close.
Every time.
Oh,
but we kept on losing. The whole season we ended off, I think it was 14 losses and 1 draw.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
No way.
So then we carried over now into the next year into matric. I was a grade 11. I was the only grade 11 in that team. And then the next year we're in matric. And the first game we play, my team is leading. And then suddenly these guys score a try against the run of play. And they take the lead. And behind the posts, I lost it.
Oh, man.
I started shouting. Why? Because I was still in that losing mentality. I still had that losing momentum in me. And I was the only guy that brought that forward. So the coach had to make drastic changes to break that momentum, because we eventually lost the game that we should have won.
Yes.
Because of that. So for what he did then was he organized us a game for midweek against a very easy team. And he really took me out in front of the whole team and explained to me what I did wrong and stuff. So, and then we started building momentum against this easy school. So we beat the easy school by 2 points.
Oh my
But
goodness.
we won.
But you won. And you broke down that negative
and
momentum.
from there
of
it
losing.
started building. And then eventually that team of ours had a very good season. So we started building winning momentum. And that's how it works. You got to get momentum. There has to be movement in the direction that you want.
I love that. I think I'm glad that you brought the dynamics around it, because people tend to, create a perception around certain words.
Yes.
And momentum is not necessarily just based on winning. It can also be momentum on losing.
Yes.
But in my personal experience, it takes me back to the inception of the School of Leadership.
Yes.
When it all started.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
it.
Yeah.
I'm going through that same journey again now.
Yes.
When we rolled the School of Leadership out in the new company. But back then, in those days, I started the program, and it's a journey.
Yes.
It's a journey of 4 years normally. So over 2 years, I had my first recipients who completed that journey. So I started this program, and it was only 3 guys who finished the whole program.
Yeah.
The second year, it was 5 guys.
Yeah.
The following year, and that is where you were,
Yes.
it was 18.
Yes.
The year after that was 29. Then it was 44. Then it was 92. And it hasn't been under 100 since.
Yeah.
Okay, so that program built in that specific school
Yeah.
where I was. And now I'm experiencing the same thing. So you started slowly. You're getting momentum. You have those few pioneers that's going to walk this road first. And then the other people see, and then they get on board.
Yes.
So everything
yes.
you start slowly, and you build it.
It takes time.
Yeah.
It's a process.
No, it does.
As well.
But the same with, you are basically building like a brand.
Yes.
So what I'm selling is I'm selling passion. And I'm selling the brand. And people want to be part of a winning story. But I mean, you're the brand expert. So imagine now you've got a negative brand and you've got to change that momentum. So we said you sometimes have losing momentum.
Yes.
So let's say now you in your company have a negative brand and you want to change that. You want to create positive momentum. How do you go about that?
I think it's quite an interesting question, and it's so relevant. And I think I would personally take my position of the brand back to base and start again. Because there's no point in moving if you're not moving in the direction you want to go.
Correct.
You want to recreate that momentum. Take control of the momentum, because you want momentum, but you don't want to lose control of it.
Yeah.
And negative brand perception is losing control of momentum.
Yes.
So you want to regain that momentum. So go back to a base. Doesn't have to be a starting point, but create your plan of action and phase it out step by step.
Yes.
And I think once you start getting into the next step, you realize that, okay, moving forward. It takes me back to riding a bicycle. Back in the day, I had an 18-speed bicycle, okay? And when we went up the hill, all right, when you took it to the heavy gear, it was kind of hard, and you move slow. But if you continue and you reach the peak of that hill and then you go down, you start gaining speed because you're on a heavy gear, but you took control of it. And you found your base and you moved forward. And I think that's something that if you look at personal brands, organizational brands, take it easy, take it back, take control, and then move step by step.
Okay.
That's how you change the
So
brand.
you talk about personal branding.
Yes.
So do you think momentum has an impact on your personal life as well?
100%.
Because what I'm saying is momentum is in the head.
Yeah, but
So
personally,
do you build momentum personally in your life as well?
you can't give what you don't have.
Yeah.
So if there isn't, if you don't have a formula of momentum, you can't give it out and you can't teach it as well. And it's very critical to teach. So it is internally, but it's a part of you as well. You can't separate it, and it has to do with consistency. If you're not consistent, you're not gaining and you won't grow and you won't reach that maximum capacity.
I also think it's about your energy, your mental energy.
100%.
So if you have negative mental energy, then things tend to be negative in your life. So Murphy's Law, which says anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Have you ever heard Venter's Law?
I didn't hear it.
Venter's Law says everything that can go right will go right.
There we go. that one deserves another one. I have to put it in there.
So it's a positive momentum if you got a brand. Typically, you will find some days where everything just seems to go wrong.
Yes.
You just have bad days.
Yes.
And that's actually momentum.
Yeah.
So because of your mental attitude, which is negative, you actually keep building on it. So for you to do it, you got to do what you said now in terms of changing the brand. You got to have a serious intervention.
Yes.
Where I become positive.
Yes.
And change it positive.
But let's not romanticize this.
Yeah.
To someone who's practically viewing this episode right now, how does one formulate or rather generate momentum? I think it's quite critical to touch on. We might have touched on it a bit, but just in a breakdown, how does one generate momentum?
Well, first in your personal life, you can generate momentum in your personal life, first of all. That's the first place where we actually have to learn it.
Yeah.
And that comes down to my personal habits and my personal leadership. So I have to build positive character
Yes.
in my personal life.
Yes.
And I have to do that by making positive decisions.
Yes.
So what I have brought into my life is something called a choose list.
Okay.
So I try to start each day with a win.
Okay.
Right, so I start my day with a win. And I do that by doing my choose list. So I've written down 10 things that I choose. It's on a list. And every morning when I wake up, I read that out loud to myself. So just as an example, a few of the things on there is I choose today to live my life to the full. In other words, to make today the best day ever. I choose today to be a good father to my sons. I choose today to be a good husband to my wife. I choose today to forgive everyone that's hurt me. So I forgive every day. But that's my choose list.
I like that.
So by starting that off, I build positive momentum for myself personally. But in life, in the world of work, in business, you've got to do the same. So when we bring it back to a general leadership content, building momentum is 3 steps. Okay?
Let's break it down.
I want you to compare it literally with like a ship that's going to sail. Okay. So I always have to get that ship moving. When that ship is lying in the water and is lying still, to get it moving, you need to burn a lot of fuel.
100%.
Okay, so that's called the law of sacrifice, which is a law we're going to get to, which is a law I love. The law of sacrifice, guys, is one of my favorite laws. We're going to get there.
Watch him when we get there. Watch him,
But to get that ship moving, you have to make sacrifices. You have to burn the fuel. But you got to generate that momentum first. You got to get it moving. You got to set it in a certain direction. That's very very important. And once it's moving, it's easy to steer it. So just think about it when you are pushing a wheelbarrow. When that wheelbarrow is standing still, it takes power to steer. When the wheelbarrow is moving, I can quickly
I like that. I like that example. Right.
So, but that's how it works as momentum. So once it's moving, I can steer it very easily. Okay, but the third thing about momentum, which is like that ship, it's hard to stop.
Okay.
So when I am moving, I am moving. Right. So in my leadership, in my business, in my world, that's what I want to get. I must make sure that when I get this momentum going, it's going in the right direction. So I need to make sure my vision is set. I've got the plan in place. I've got the priorities in place. And we work towards that vision. Then we sacrifice to get that thing going. And once it's moving, we can make the adjustments as we go along.
And know when to
and
slow
then
down.
The enemy can't stop us.
I love that. Actually, that's so beautiful. You just brought I even forgot we're in lead now. I'm just in this momentum session. I'm getting schooled today. It shows it's so significant. And I must remind people back at home, a big shout out to Dr. John C. Maxwell for the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. This is such powerful content and it's forever relevant. And that's why we have to continuously always acknowledging and recognizing them. I'll just mention this before we get to wrap things up. How important is it to celebrate the small ones?
No, very, very important because that's what builds that positive energy. That's how I actually build that momentum.
It's the creation. It's
absolutely.
Also
in a
part
team.
of
I mean,
generating
with my rugby team, there was a stage where in the school that I was coaching, the ethos was, no, you don't celebrate. So you score a try, you just stand up, you run back. You don't celebrate because... And I realized that with my boys, to build that energy, we had to celebrate. So we started celebrating a big tackle,
Come on,
good ruck, a good scrum. We would high five each other and celebrate if we do stuff right, because that is what creates that positive momentum.
And in summary, to people watching back at home, what's one of those key message you want to leave them with when it comes to the law of momentum?
Why are you here?
Come on.
You are here to become the person you were created to be so that you can make the maximum impact in the world. The key in that sentence is become. The moment you start becoming, you start moving. So I have to become, I have to make those sacrifices to become somebody. And as I become, I start moving. So as I change my life to become the person I'm supposed to be, okay, I build momentum. So the more things I do to become that person is the more momentum I build. And that is how I get going through life. So I must really live like the person I was created to be. So even if I'm not here now, I start putting these things in step, getting the ship moving, and then I move. Okay.
I love that.
That's critical.
That's powerful. That is powerful. And I mean, I wouldn't want to wrap it up in any other positive way except that. And what I will say is, if you haven't started, now is the time. All right.
Yes.
And if you're not consistent, you won't finish. So there won't be any momentum that's gained. So remember, start, assess, and move. Continuously move to gain that power. And I think this was a lovely episode. I really
Absolutely.
enjoyed this, man.
Yeah, fantastic. Great spending time with you.
Let's do this again. Once again, you're still tuned into this amazing show called Lead Now. Until we do it again, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. Yes, man.
We've hoped you've enjoyed this episode of Lead Now, proudly brought to you by the School of Leadership Africa. Please remember to follow us on our social media. You can find us on Facebook at the School of Leadership and also on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at SoulAfrica_ZA. Thanks for tuning in.